Welcome to the United States of Tiffany. Our commentary offers a humorous take on wrestling. Please note, we're not bullying or attacking the wrestlers. We're engaging with the choreographed sport and its storylines. Our jokes and observations are about the characters and storylines, not the real people behind them. Tourists and citizens alike, welcome. Enjoy the show, and remember, it's all in good fun.
Oh,
well, yeah, y'all look, it was a show, to put it plainly. I know it's hard for y'all to see me right now, but let me adjust your screens. I will say this: Monday Night Raw started off okay, but it ended kind of predictable. And sometimes predictability isn't bad. It's just predictable, you know? So here we go. To first start off, hello to everybody in the chat. How are you guys doing? I hope you're doing well. Hello, Kira, Kayla, Eli, Donnie. How y'all doing? Okay. And those of you who choose not to speak, hello to you too. Okay. So let's just get this going so we can get into the match card for SummerSlam. They making SummerSlam massive, like it's WrestleMania. So let's just get into it. The show opened up with Jey Uso after they did the tribute to Hulk Hogan once again. I'm pretty sure they'll do it over on NXT tomorrow as well. It's just something y'all gonna have to get used to. I can't explain it no other way. It is what it is. People are going to mourn this man's death. If you choose not to, that's your business. And if you choose to, that's your business. Okay? We're just going to leave it at that and let them do what they're doing, because there is some truth to Hulk Hogan's legacy and what he left behind in terms of him being the big man that he was. This allowed WWE to be catapulted into the stratosphere of pop culture and just on the pulse of our society. They're one of the big turning points in sports entertainment, just like football in terms of the Super Bowl is, the NBA finals, now with the WNBA finals. These all things are synonymous with our culture. And unfortunately, he was the catalyst for WWE being able to do that. So that is something that people have to acknowledge, and people are going to acknowledge that. And you can acknowledge that and still not like the man for what he said and did. You know what I'm saying? And that's fair, Donnie. You know, I got you. I got you. So with that being said, let's get into Monday Night Raw. Now, Jey Uso came out there to kick off the show, and Paul Heyman came out to essentially cause some discourse or try to redirect Jey Uso into having some doubt in his big cousin. Now, Paul Heyman essentially said in a nutshell that he went in a roundabout way of saying that he shouldn't trust Roman Reigns because Roman Reigns is a liar. He basically said that when it was time for him to be chosen to be the next tribal chief, Roman gave it to Solo. So he never believed in you. He never wanted you to be good. He never wanted you to be great. And now that you are, you're just gonna make it easier for him, and he doesn't really even want you around. Like, you guys so-called family is not even, it's dysfunctional, you know. That's essentially what he was saying. So Jey Uso went through all of that. He cut through all of that. He basically was like, you know me better than anybody. You know I ride for my family. You know I will spaz for my family. So you out here talking real reckless for somebody who knows they can get it right now. But he said, I ain't go out there and go on my own and go out there and become champ and do all of these things on my own for Roman. He said, I did it for me to prove to myself that I could do it. And I was like, talk your shit, Jey. Tell him. But he was like, I'm going to always be there for my family. All day, every day. And he said, why you out here talking about my family? Where the fuck is yours? I don't see none of them. That's because every time he get a chance, he do something to fuck it up. So he's not going to have any, babe. Okay? That's kind of how it happens. Hello, Hiram. How are you? What family he don't know isn't dysfunctional? Well, there's always dysfunction in a family, but not all families are dysfunctional. You get what I'm saying? There is dysfunction in families, but not all families are dysfunctional. All right? It's some bad behavior in there. You know what I mean? But anywhoosies, we moved on. Okay? First match of the night was a 6-man tag team match between AJ Styles and the Kabuki Warriors facing off against Dominic Mysterio and Roxanne and Raquel of the Judgment Day. Now, this match ended up breaking down towards the end, and AJ Styles and them was able to pick up the win. They had some really cool moments with AJ, Asuka, and Kyrie. AJ launched Kyrie out the ring onto Raquel Rodriguez, took everybody out, and then Dom ended up suffering the pin in the ring. I really think that Dominic Mysterio's ass is going to retain his title at SummerSlam, and it's probably going to be because Roxanne coming there to help him and shit. Child. Anyway. Anywhoosies, we had that match, and then they went to the back, if I recall, and we saw Sheamus talking to Kathy, and Sheamus was talking about his match with Rusev and how he felt like he finally got some redemption because Rusev cheated the first time they fought, and he was like, cheaters never prosper, and I had to take that man to a banger after banger after banger and make sure that man know he can't fuck with me like that. You feel me? Sir. Hold on, let me get the comments. I'm doing all right. What about you? I'm okay. I'm cool. Which family is worse, the bloodline or mine? Rico, I have to say that your family is dysfunctional. The bloodline just has dysfunction in their family, but your family is dysfunctional. And I hate to say that because that's just sad. But that's unfortunately true for you, baby. Hey, whoosies. So as Sheamus was talking, Grayson Waller walked up with the New Day. I don't know what Grayson Waller been doing since he been off TV, but he's been working out because that man's abs is crazy. I was like, what the fuck? I said, where did it come from? What have you been doing, sir? I mean, he's very toned, very lean in the body. His arms are very toned. I was like, okay, Grayson, you still, how you oil everything up but your lips? Just disappointing. He back there just talking cash shit to Sheamus and was like, me and the New Day gonna take care of it. New Day was like, oh, me and New Day too? What do you mean? Oh, no. Next thing you know, them 2 morning hoes was gone. The church was in mourning and they had to go. Okay. They got their asses up out of there and left Grayson Waller by himself. I really wish he would stop calling himself Big G because, it's giving Shorty G vibes and I'm just cringing. I'm cringing at the thought. I don't like it. It stinks. It's gross. But anyways, so Sheamus was like, since you out here talking shit, we can have a banger. We can go out there and have at it. You know, I love a good fight. So Sheamus. I hate when they do that, y'all. It just cut off on me. Mike just went limp on me. It's impotent. Jerry, give me my purse. I gotta get my other microphone. Hold on, y'all. It's right there. You stepping over my purse.
Still don't know my words, still stressing perfection. Let you all in my mental, got me looking too desperate. Damn, you ain't designed.
Close your eyes to get away. Just make my mind and I'll arrange it. Beautiful, girl, you're stainless. You'll be fine, I'll be painless, yeah. All I'm drinking is champagne. All you want is the same thing.
Yeah. The 10,000 building, get your ass an apartment, put you inside a G-class, that's just a starter kit. Plenty things count in life, but none of them is the thought of it. New piece around my neck is chess games, but shorty stay with calculated moves like Beth Harmon. Swear I'm more Purple Rain Prince than Prince Charming. Disappointment I stay expecting it. The pessimist gold medalists flush the magnums just so they not collecting my specimens. Damn.
All right, so my bad. I had to fix my microphone, so I apologize. I don't even remember where I was. Where was I? Where was I? What was I? Where was I? Oh, I was talking about Rusev. I was not feeling Rusev, you know, and it cut off at Sheamus and Grayson. That's crazy. Sheamus won. Grayson. Ooh, I lost a lot of people. Sheamus won. Grayson ended up he ended up getting out the ring. He got beat up in the match pretty much. I mean, he had some moments, but he didn't really compete. Like it was essentially a squash match, but it wasn't. How can I explain it? It was a squash match, but it wasn't. Like Sheamus got a lot of offense, and then Grayson got a little bit, but not enough to be able to like put the match in complete danger. He did have a really nasty like tornado DDT off the edge of the apron, which was sick, by the way, but it wasn't enough to keep Sheamus down. In fact, Sheamus got up almost immediately and returned with this really gnarly knee on Grayson Waller. So Waller, as much as I want him to be great, he's just not. He ain't really adding nothing to the table either, but I feel like if they book him like they booked The Miz and give him like an IC title run as well, he probably will get more traction going for himself. But during this match, Rusev came out there with the distraction. This did not help, Grayson Waller at all. Grayson still lost the match, even with the distraction. Rusev then attacked Sheamus with the shillelagh, took him out, and then put him in the accolade for his troubles. Now, I'm not interested in Rusev. I find him to be quite boring. And it's not even just like he's not a good character, but like Rusev is the type where he's not like Gunther, where Gunther got a surprise, chin check in there for you somewhere. No, he's not like that at all. He literally has nothing of substance to say. It's not going to be like any promo quip that you're going to hear or see on there. Like he really does better with somebody who is excellent on the microphone. Like that was kind of the reason why it worked when him and what was his name? Adrian at the time, I think. I don't remember the guy's name, but I know that he's over in TNA doing commentary with TNA with Tom. Him and Lana and Rusev were together. That really worked. It really gave him like character work, and Rusev worked out really nicely in that particular setting. But like when he's by himself and he has nothing really to push him or propel him forward, he does not live up to the challenge. Now, ring-wise, he does. Ring-wise, he's great. I will never take away from his in-ring capability, but he's just not, I don't know. It's like, do you want to be here? You know what I mean? Like, do you want to be here? Because it just feels like you're just phoning it in so you can get paid this week. And I hate to say that, but that's just how I see it. Let us move on. they were backstage and they asked Naomi, they said, hey, Naomi, how do you feel? Like, come this time Saturday, you're going to be competing in a major match with Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. But this time, they're going to know that you're coming. So how do you feel? Like, do you feel like you're losing your advantage here? Or are you perfectly set? Like, where is your mindset going into SummerSlam? And Naomi just flat out asked her, she said, how you gonna ask me a stupid ass question like that? She said, why would you ask me that? Girl, Naomi is a whole kiki, but she said, I don't care who it is. She said, Rhea Ripley, she don't have to worry about me at SummerSlam. She ain't got to worry about it. She was like, Rhea Ripley is brutal, but I'm going to be the one bringing the brutality at SummerSlam. And then Io Sky might be the genius of the sky, but I'm a high flyer too. She was like, so both of them bitches can bring it. And I'll make sure I walk out with the championship. And she kept it going and she kept it cute. And she walked away doing her little, demon cackle, honey. I said, I loves me some Naomi. Okay. Loves it. Yo, that's messed up what Bronson Reed did to Roman Reigns to end this night. Not only he destroyed Roman, but he also stole Roman's J's. It was hilarious. What kind of shoes were they?
The low top Splizites, like I got upstairs when he had all white ones on.
Those are expensive. How much are those?
Mine was $150.
He had the all white ones though.
Mm-hmm.
Are those the Splizites that was in collaboration with Off-White?
No.
No?
Oh.
You sure?
Yeah. Oh, what's that?
What's wrong with your arm?
Still sore from using that goddamn wrestling. So I have to put some fire freeze on it. Using a damn hairspray.
I don't know. They might have the same foot size. Bronson Reed got flat, wide feet anyway. So do Roman, if we're being fair. So I know that nigga made him give him back his shoes when he went in the back. Right. I would have got mine. Like, hey, run me my shoes before I really whoop your ass up and through here. I liked your little bit. That was cute. But you gonna give me back my motherfucking shoes. Shit. The fuck? But anyways, so the girls was back there. They was all getting ready to start preparing to come out. And it was an 8-woman tag team match. They decided to put this at the top of the hour. And they had Nikki Bella, Io Sky, Stephanie Vaquer, and they had Rhea Ripley facing off against Naomi, Chelsea, and her secret Hervice. Okay? Her secret Hervice. So this match actually was really fun to watch. Everybody had their moment in time. What I really liked was Piper getting a big moment at the end. I want to see Piper be able to break out and really get some stuff going, because I know what Piper and Alba are really capable of. And I find it to be a little messed up that they have to be Chelsea's sidekicks in order to be seen on television. I know that they enjoy it and that they're funny and they have a good time with it, but I want the Alba Fire that was dominant in NXT UK. I want that Alba Fire. So they're still like over $200.
Yeah, that's because he's on StockX. You can't get scrolling off the Nike site no more.
I mean, when they dropped, it was like 150,
165.
Okay, that's not bad. And wearing them fuck ass suits. He don't like the suits. I'm not the fan of the suits, but they be working in them suits. I hope that Tittle's feet will fit, or is it too big? Because Roman's size 15. I don't know how big Bronson Reed fit in. I don't really know. I didn't know Roman's feet. He got the same foot size as my daddy and my brothers. Oh my God, he has some big ass feet. Like, it's the middle of summer. I know they sweating bad. Child. This faction where Seth is the leader still. Now Braun is in a prominent role. When Seth returns, does it lead to eventually a feud between Braun and Seth? No way Braun wants to give up the power. You really make it hard for me to stay on topic, Switchblade, but I'm going to answer your question. This was where it was headed in the first place. It just needed time to build to get there. But because Seth Rollins, and I told y'all a long time ago that if you pay attention, the story is already being told before you get to it. You just have to notice the signs. Bron Breakker is a hothead. He was never going to continue to stay in line. That was never the goal. And we all know that Seth Rollins has never been able to maintain a faction past maybe 2 years. That might be the breaking point for Seth Rollins. A year is the minimum for me when it comes to Seth and factions. The problem that here is not necessarily Seth Rollins. It was going to be and always will be Bron Breakker, because Bron Breakker is a hothead and he doesn't believe he needs to listen to him. And once Seth does come back, let's say Seth is injured, but it was a mild injury and he just needed to stay off his leg for a little while, and he comes back and he's ready to roll. Seth is always going to take his spot. Now, for the beginning, it's going to look like Bron Breakker is going to fall in line, right? But when it all comes down to it, when it's time for you to really lock in and he starts barking orders, Bron Breakker is going to eventually break from the faction. It's going to be him first, because he's the one who has the hothead. He's the one who cannot control himself. Bronson Reed is in a position of, if he can't beat me, so he clearly brought me in because I it's better to keep your enemies close. You know what I'm saying? I can see you. I know what you're going to do. And if I can't, since I can't beat him to get to where I need to be, I'll catapult myself to the top. I'll catapult myself to the top by being with Seth Rollins. But Bron Breakker, no. You know why? Because one, Bron Breakker had success without Seth and Bronson Reed. Bron Breakker was a champion twice on that roster within a few years of being on the main roster. He doesn't necessarily need Seth Rollins to put himself over or to eventually become world champion. He just now has a fast track to get there. But first, he gonna have to go through Seth to get it. So, no. I don't see Bron Breakker just sitting there and, letting Seth be champion and being okay with it. He most definitely is going to appear that way, but eventually he's going to defect because he feels as though he's a better fit for leadership. He deserves to be the leader. And of course, Paul Heyman going to back him. Why? Because he's younger. He knows he gets longevity out of them. And if I was Triple H, I would use the fact that Seth just got injured, and I would let that be a part of the storyline when they defect from him. I sure would. I would push it and be like, you injury prone. Every time you injure your knee, you injure the same knee over and over and over again. You are getting old. You are weaker. And I don't have time for this. I'm younger. I'm fresh. I ain't never been injured like that. And I'm never going to be that way because I'm better than you. You feel what I'm saying? That's how I would market it. That's how I would push it forward. Because if you're going to talk about the future, Seth Rollins can't be at the forefront of said future. Future implies somebody who has enough time and tenure to be able to lead into the future and continue through. Seth Rollins clearly is on borrowed time. We're not talking about him being injured. We're talking about kayfabe wise, okay? He's on borrowed time. And as far as I'm concerned, when you've got blood in the water, there are always going to be sharks. Bron Breakker is a shark, plain and simple. But he was always going to be the one to defect. Always. He was overzealous. He never listened. He was always trying to always be on the attack. He always was angry for nothing. People could just talk and he would just be like, oh, let's just whoop their ass. And it's like, at some point, you got to have some patience and proceed forward. Bron Breakker don't even think his way through half the time. He's always moving on emotion, which is part of the reason why a lot of times youth can be destructive, just like you being an old cantankerous man can be destructive. Every aspect of life can be destructive. It really is on how you structure it. You need to think your way through. You need to have a plan. Now, of course, they were able to thwart Roman and Jey Uso tonight because Roman and Jey Uso weren't expecting them to actually be pulled together like this, which I really don't understand why they weren't. I would have been prepared for it, but it just goes to show that on Saturday when they compete, Roman and Jey Uso gonna win, which I'll get to that in a minute. let's finish out the show. Context clues and reading between the lines is a skill. It is. He just spears people without looking and moves without foresight. Now, sometimes he has a little bit of a cerebral assassin style persona, sometimes. But oftentimes, Bron Breakker is a classic meathead. He's a jock with a lot of power that really doesn't know how to use it intently. With some intention, when you move with precision, you will wield your power better than just being a meathead. Okay? Sometimes you got to move in silence and then attack. Exactly. So, let's move forward. Back to the girls. This match was massive, and to be fair, I think it was one of the best matches on the card, but it was fun. Ultimately, Rhea, Stephanie, Nikki, and Io did win this match. Naomi tried to walk away, but it was not in her favor. She ended up getting thrown back in the match. Personally, I think at SummerSlam, Naomi's going to retain that title. But that's just me. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. Any whoosies, let's get back into the rest of the show. So, I don't think we had no matches in between there. Right?
I don't remember if we did. I won't pay attention.
Let me double check. I have to double check, y'all. Because Monday Night Raw was a little mellow. You know, it wasn't really a lot going on with Monday Night Raw. You know what I'm saying? But we did get a nice little meeting with Karrion Kross. And I think we finally understand what Karrion Kross's problem is with Sami Zayn. You see, Karrion has been able to manipulate everybody into being what he deems is normal. Remember, I told y'all a few episodes back that Karrion is the Joker in this instance, and you have Sami as the Batman, okay? And the reason why I compare them is because that is how Karrion is operating. If you watched The Dark Knight, then you know that Heath Ledger's Joker's main goal was to prove that the world had the same thought process and mindset as him, that he was not alone in this, and that they weren't better than him. But more specifically, Heath Ledger was trying to prove that Batman was just as bad, weird, off the cuff, and crazy as he was. But ultimately, he was proven wrong because Batman was not like that. He understood the severity of life and death, whereas Joker wielded it as if it was some type of game in a pawn. The difference between Karrion and the Joker is very simple. Karrion Kross believes that Sami thinks he's better than him. And the reason why is because Sami won't take the shortcuts. Sami won't go and attack people that he doesn't need to attack. Sami doesn't behave in a manner that's outside of who he believes he is. And because he can't break him, he deems him to be a problem, because that means there's a flaw in Karrion Kross's theory, and that also means that Karrion Kross believes that Sami is better than him. The logic of it is quite psychological. Karrion really does think that Sami is better than him. So in order for him to prove that he isn't, he's got to turn him into the very thing that he knows Sami Zayn would hate. So Sami sat down with Corey and was getting ready to do an interview. He did part of it, but Karrion told Corey to skedaddle while he talked to Sami Zayn himself. And he, as any other arrogant master manipulator, gave up his whole card. If you listen to him very carefully, he said the quiet part out loud. He told Sami Zayn, I have been able to prove and manipulate everybody into doing what I want them to do, except for you. You are the only one who won't do what I need you to do. And it's pissing me off. And I was like, oh, I see what's going on here. I understand now. And of course, Karrion continued. He said, at SummerSlam, I'm going to beat you again. And when I do, I want you to say Karrion was right. that everybody is just like him, that everybody is gonna do what they have to. They're gonna dig in the dirt. They'll steal, they'll cheat, they'll attack, they'll beat people down. You are right about me. I'm not a good guy. I you have to admit that. Or the assaults will continue. Essentially, what he gave him was an ultimatum. I beat you down and I win, and you admit that I'm right, and I'll leave you alone and you'll never hear from me, and you can go on and win your World Heavyweight Championship, snickering and laughing at him at the same time. And then he says, because I know that you are a liar, and I know that you aren't as good or as great or as you're not this wholesome human being as you present yourself to be. You're a bad person, and you're not better than anyone, and you sure as hell aren't better than me. And I said, now I understand what the problem is. You do understand very, very well that Sami Zayn is a good person. He always has been, and he always will be. You're targeting him because you don't like that. You're targeting him because you don't see any of yourself in this man. And for whatever reason, that's triggering you. It's triggering you. And instead of your woman suggesting that you go get therapy to help work you through why you seem to be such, so traumatized by the fact that there are good people in this world, you decide to take all your frustration and anger out on Sami and use him to prove your point that people are innately bad and they just need to be pushed over the edge to that point. Sami Zayn said, you know what, Karrion? And I want you to be very clear, because when you watch stuff, you have to be observant. You have to pay attention. Karrion Kross had the steel pipe in his hand. He had it in his hand. And he gave it to Sami Zayn because he told Sami, I was going to come in here and just beat you across the stomach with this pipe in the first place and just take you out. But he said, I would lose my match at SummerSlam, and I can't have that. Of course. So while Sami had this pipe, remember that Sami had the pipe. Karrion's whole point is to prove that Sami Zayn is a bad guy. And when pushed to the limit, Sami will do what everybody else will do, which is lash out, right? That did not happen. Sami sat there with that pipe in front of him, and he made it very clear to Karrion that he doesn't understand exactly what he wants him to do or why he needs him to say that he is right and that I'm a liar. But he said, what I will do is when I lose, if I lose at SummerSlam, I will say whatever you need me to say so this can be over. If you need me to tell you that you were right, then so be it. I will do that. But he said, when I win at SummerSlam, hold on, y'all. Hold tight. Give me 1 second. One more second.
Still don't know my words, still stressing perfection. Let you all in my mental, got me looking too desperate. Damn, you ain't desired.
Sorry about that. But Sami Zayn made it very clear that he feels as though Karrion Kross is wrong about a lot of things. Karrion Kross is wrong about his assessment of most of the guys on the roster that he has turned. He feels like he's wrong about his assessment about himself. And he says that when he beats him at SummerSlam, that he wants him to look him in the eyes and admit that he was wrong. So we got a nice little stipulation here. If Sami Zayn loses, he's going to admit to Karrion Kross that Karrion Kross was right this whole time and that he is just another pawn in the game of the puppet master. But if Sami Zayn wins, then Karrion Kross is going to have to eat crow. And he's going to have to reevaluate how he's going to go about this. Because while the games are fun and it makes it look cool, you didn't have all this manipulation over everybody. While some people did suffer and change because of you, that has to be with, New Day and several other people. AJ Styles and Sami Zayn both were able to thwart your efforts to change the narrative of their outlook and who they are as people. You were not able to fix it or change it or make it into what makes you feel better about yourself. Because if everybody's crazy, if everybody's evil, then you don't look so bad. Now, do you? Well, there you have it. Not gonna lie, Piper and Albert are talented, but too bad WWE creative don't book them in anything more prominent. I think that they will eventually. I just want it now. That's all. I fell asleep during Street Trash versus LWO. I don't see how you fell asleep on that match because that match was actually really, really good. I'm very disappointed that they didn't pull the trigger on giving LWO those tag team titles because they performed exceptionally well. What I really hate is them bringing in El Grande Americano, and then they had another white man masked up coming in there. I don't know who came up with this concept, but I'm going to say this. Given the climate that we're in, I think you should be more respectful to the luchador culture and not make a mockery of it in this way. I understand it's kayfabe and it's supposed to be fun and interesting and different and it's supposed to inspire conversation or whatever. But at the same time, you use these luchadors in the matches with other luchadors. You do not give them any traction. They don't win any matches when these masked white men are coming in these matches. So, 1 + 1 is 2, bro. It doesn't look good. And then you got them hailing from the Gulf of America. I just need y'all to not do that to them and to give them the respect that they deserve. Not only that, but LWO being tag team champs could really be fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all are not making this fun, and I just want it to be fun. Like, the LWO, especially Joaquin and Cruz del Toro, have been screwed out of title opportunities on every brand that they have been on, whether it was SmackDown, Raw, or NXT, especially when they were in Legado del Fantasma. Like, y'all don't give Cruz or Phoenix anything, and they deserve to be champion. They deserve it. Finn and JD have been champion 4 times over. Like, we're tired. You didn't even have to give it to them. That's the part that makes it so fucked up. You didn't even have to give it to them. You just didn't. And I don't care about storylines because you don't need those titles to make a storyline work. You don't. If that was the case, you could have gave Finn the IC title and had Dominic go get the US title. You did it when Dom was North American champion. Like, come on. Give us something else. And you can pull Finn out of this and start really putting him in that main event title scene, or at least in that mid-card division, something. Because you got to be able to diversify. Because there's going to come a time where the Seth Rollinses are going to be gone. And Finn's going to be one of them. Seth Rollins is going to be gone. There's going to be a time where CM Punk is going to be gone. You're not going to always be able to rest on the pop of that OTC. You've got to start building up other guys. And I'm not just talking about Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, and Sami Zayn's another one. As much as I love Sami, he's an OG. He's almost on his way out too. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you really got to start focusing on building up these other guys. Tyler Bate is back there. Start working on building him. Okay? You've got fucking Pete Dunne back there. Use him. Build him up. Start making room. Start making shit work. Start shaking some goddamn tables. Please. Because we're circling the same fucking people for the last couple of years at this point. And while I love my guys, I love the populars, but at some point, you got to start making new popular people. That's all I'm saying. But Bálor and McDonagh retained the championships. They did it with double interference from another masked man that was wearing a mask. He looked like Julius. I want to say it was Julius. Creed, and then there was Ludwig Kaiser who came in there to interrupt for whatever reason. I don't know why. Don't ask me. I don't know. I really don't. Anyways, Gunther came out and was boasting that he finally shut up the voice of the voiceless. He said that he got them together. He said he did something that nobody's been able to do. He shut his dumb ass up. Blah, 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 blah. And then CM Punk came out there and read his ass for filth. CM Punk said, I call myself the best in the world because, bitch, I can. And there ain't nothing you gonna do about it. He said, bitch, I did. What you gonna do about it? Nothing. That's what I thought. They was out there going back and forth. He was like, CM Punk, that's it. He was like, nah, nigga, I'm not done. When you put your career up against mine, it's real cute because you got some greatness on there. Nobody's taking away from you. But baby, I done been in the ring with people, with Hall of Famers, superstars, wrestlers, people you couldn't even dream of being in the ring with. I've been all over this country, wrestling multiple promotions. Okay, these people were singing and chanting my name for 10 fucking years. That's the place that even you ain't gonna never be able to achieve or reach. So while you worried about titles defining if you're going to be the best in the world, I already am the best in the world. And he said, you didn't quiet me. You didn't silence me last week. I got quiet because I was thinking, I was in deep thought. I realized right then and there while you was talking and yakking off that I don't want to be world heavyweight champion. I need to be world heavyweight champion. I need that championship like I need air to breathe. And because you have it, you're a problem for me. You're in my way. So make no mistake. Shutting me up is never going to be anything that anybody can do. And you, for damn sure, never shut me up. He said, I am the best in the world. And that's all it is. And that's all it's ever going to be. Gunther didn't have nothing. Gunther was just in there like, just stuck. He was dumbfounded. He was hurt. Oh, it's a shame. Oh, you breaking mi corazón. Chica. He was hurt. He was like, this motherfucker done showed me up. He said, he stood out there like, ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. I'm the one singing the records. Yeah. Otis said they coming to see the Temptations. Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. They coming to see me. You wish you could work it the way I do. Oh, Jesus. My God, today. I'll be killing myself. The way I am seeing it with the current story arc of Sami Zayn is that after Sami accepts the message Cross is conveying, he will tap into the dark side to do whatever it takes to win a world title. Yes, essentially. He thinks that's what's going to happen. But he hasn't broken them yet. And that's part of the issue. That's why Karrion Kross is getting desperate. Because Sami isn't showing these true colors that he claims he has. They had so many chances to push LWO over. They definitely did. The tag team division on Raw is trash now. WWE needs to fix it ASAP. Trash wouldn't be what I would call it. I'm of the opinion that it always can be fixed. It's fixable. I think the tag team division, it doesn't have as much depth as SmackDown, but there are two different people running it. So on SmackDown, you have a former tag team guy in Road Dogg running SmackDown. So he's going to rely heavily on tag teams because he understands the importance of them. Triple H, while he was a former tag team champion at some point in his career, tag teams are not his forte. They never have been. But if I were him, I would be working on bringing up some of the tag teams from NXT to fill out my roster, the same way that he brought up some of the girls from NXT to fill out the rosters. Okay. So it really just takes some elbow grease, and they probably would be able to make it work. Just gotta stop dropping it to fucking stop giving Judgment Day championships. Like, stop doing that. They don't need titles to make their storylines work. That's all I'm saying. For real, I'm just so tired of Judgment Day and then having them tag team titles. I agree. Them being champs hold no weight. Dom at SummerSlam should have been facing Finn to defend his IC title. You know what? Switch Blade, I actually 1000% agree. But I don't think it's happening because Liv is out. And I think they switched this stuff around because Liv got injured. You know what I'm saying? And that caused some discord. As soon as he's off maternity leave, Pete Dunne will eat. Oh, Pete Dunne is on maternity leave. I didn't know that. Pete's having a baby. Congratulations. They say Pete Dunne is the other El Grande Americano. What? No, that man's not the other El Grande. He doesn't have Pete's build. They have Carmelo back there, and WWE now does not even use him properly now. I'm going to say this once, and I want you to remember what I'm saying. Think about when Carmelo Hayes debuted on the main roster after he was drafted number 1. Think about the response that Carmelo Hayes got from the crowd, and think about what they did. They gave Carmelo Hayes a best of 7 series with Andrade, which worked for Sheamus and Cesaro. You remember when they did the best of 7s? That worked for them, right? It didn't work for Carmelo the way that it worked for Cesaro and Sheamus. Now, granted, I do think that Carmelo is a commodity and can be used and should be used. But I also remember the pop that Carmelo got was very mid on the main roster. And while Carmelo was great in NXT, and he's a beautiful, amazing superstar, the persona Carmelo brought to the main roster was not needed because there's already 5 guys who have his arrogance and talk the way he does. They should have brought Carmelo in as a face. He would have got over as a face. And they very well could have had him be champion in between this whole situation before they decided to bring in Jacob and all of that. He could have been champion. But the problem is Carmelo wasn't over. Then they put him with Miz, and that didn't help either. So first they got to figure out how to book him, which I still say Carmelo Hayes could be a face and be booked fine. But they could run it back with Trick Williams and bring Trick over and have Trick and Carmelo running through the roster again as a team. Not necessarily a tag team, but as a team. And that way Carmelo can kind of feed off of Trick Williams a little bit. Seeing as how Trick Williams right now is a bigger star than Carmelo Hayes is. Just saying. Too bad Gunther will drop the title to CM Punk and not some up-and-coming guy, which shows that WWE has now not been focused on building up new people. At some point, CM Punk was going to get that title. I don't think he's going to have it long, because if Seth isn't as injured as people say, he more than likely is going to take that title off of him, but he might swerve us and go after Cody Rhodes. You never know. But I mean, I figured he was going to get the title at some point. So am I mad about it? No, but they, like I said, they could be working on building other guys outside of Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. They could be building up other people, and they're not doing that. Like Jimmy should be a top commodity on SmackDown, just like his brother, or at least working to build him there. And they're not doing that. When Uncle Bill tells you to shut the fuck up and listen, you do exactly that. I was like, oh, that's sick. I thought it was George Kettle. No. Yeah, it was like, meh, pops. Is it weird whenever WWE in main roster has people hold championships and immediately the championships are in PTO, and most time they all they do is talk but not wrestle very much? Kind of. It depends on who's holding the title. Somebody like Dom, which Dom has really grown into a really good heel, and he's a good wrestler too. Somebody like Dom holding the title and not competing, is a little weird to me. Like, he's been champion now, they say, for 100+ days, and he hasn't defended that championship. I don't think. If he's defended it like maybe once, I think it was against Penna. I don't remember. But he's only defended it once, and that I can remember. He hasn't really, and then he had that whole injury thing. He hasn't really done anything with the title. But I don't necessarily have a problem with it when it lends credibility to the story. But if they're just holding a title and they don't defend it, like when Liv and Raquel were tag team champions and didn't defend them for like 2 months, I was just like, what are we doing? Like, what's happening here? So I'm not necessarily the biggest fan, but Tiffany has been champion for 100 plus. She's been champion for 200 days, actually, but only had 5 title defenses. That low key is on WWE. That isn't on her. So, but she has been champion for 200+ days. And that's on WWE for not booking her to defend the title. Honestly, who was she going to defend it against? Bianca's out. She's probably going to be out for a while until they can fix her finger, because her finger won't bend. It looks like they're getting ready to build Jey to be the next champ. If they don't give it to her now, she more than likely will, run it back and get it at Clash at the Castle. Nia's there. She already beat Nia Jax. She beat Charlotte Flair. The only other person on the roster she hasn't beaten is Julia, Zelina, Alexa Bliss, Chelsea, fuck ass Kiana, because she ain't been wrestling. She just got cleared to wrestle and to be there. And then B-Fab and Michin. That is the rest of the roster outside of the other girls that are at the top of the mountain right now. So she really didn't have nobody to really compete against. Like, a lot of the girls are on SmackDown, on Raw right now. So, I mean, and Nikki Cross, I didn't think about Nikki, but Nikki's a former champion. So there's that. I don't know. But let's get to this final match of the show. Jey Uso was going up against Bronson Reed, and for the most part, the two men were going back and forth, and it was a pretty solid match. But of course, Brian Breaker's brilliant plan was to come in and stop Bronson Reed from losing to Jey Uso. Then Roman came out, and they didn't really get the best of the big guys. They were able to lay them out. It was spears, tsunamis, then spears through the barricade. Both men ended up being beaten down pretty bad by Brian Breaker and Bronson Reed. So much so that Bronson Reed stole Roman's all-white spit ice. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Monday Night Raw. I told you Monday Night Raw was pretty straightforward. There wasn't a lot going on, honey. It went off with Bronson Reed and Brian Breaker standing in the ring holding up his shoes. Now, WWE has made it very clear that SummerSlam is going to be a massive show, and they're looking for this to be highly successful, obviously, because if this is successful for New Jersey for this 2-night SummerSlam event, then cities are going to be bidding and screaming and clamoring for SummerSlam to come to their city for tourism, and all that good old stuff. This is a major boom in whatever city gets SummerSlam next year and the year after, especially with them being 2-night events now. So if this does well, and it does well commercially as well as in the city itself, WWE is probably going to be making money hand over fist with SummerSlam, almost to the likes of the kind of money that they make for WrestleMania. With that being said, SummerSlam is this Saturday, August 2nd, and Sunday, August 3rd. They're going to be emanating from MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. And Saturday night, they're going to have the following matches. Now, everybody is concerned about Drew McIntyre because rumor has it that Drew McIntyre, well, it ain't a rumor, he admitted it on social media that he was stuck in the UK when he went to go see a friend of his get married. However, I think that Drew will make it back in time. I honestly think that by now he probably is either on his way to the States or he's already in the United States. I think what happened is he sent his wife ahead, which he did admit to. He said he went on ahead and let his wife go. And I think she went home, found his passport, and probably expedited it to him where he is. He got his passport. He took his ass home, and he'll show up at SummerSlam on Saturday. So Randy and Jelly Roll are going to be facing off against Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre on Saturday in New Jersey, and that is a tag team match. You also are going to have Tiffany Stratton facing off against Jade Cargill for the WWE Women's Championship. And of course, the main event is more than likely going to be Gunther. Thank you. The main event is more than likely going to be Gunther and CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. You also are going to have this tag team match between the tag team champions Raquel and Roxanne going up against Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. And this is for the women's tag team titles. And then you're going to also have this tag team match. You'll have Reed and Breaker facing off against the OTC1 and main event Jey Uso. And they probably, I don't know. This might fluctuate. This might be second to last. And then, of course, you're going to have probably this in the middle will be Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. Night 2 is going to consist of this massive tag team match. This is a TLC tag team match. It was made last Friday. All of the tag teams on SmackDown are going to be competing in this match with the exception of Pretty Deadly because one of them is currently injured. Inside a steel cage, Jacob Fatu will face off against his cousin Solo Sikoa for the United States Championship. The IC title is on the line with Dominic Mysterio as the current champion, facing off against the challenger, the phenomenal AJ Styles. And of course, you have the Women's Intercontinental Championship also being challenged. Lyra Valkyria is challenging Becky Lynch for the title. I forgot about Lyra and Becky. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really care. I don't care to talk about it. It wasn't worth it. Lyra has a stipulation. If Lyra loses, Lyra can never challenge for the Intercontinental Championship, I believe, as long as Becky is holding it. She will no longer have the opportunity to challenge. So that's a stipulation for their match. And then you have the finals. Women's World Heavyweight Championship is being contested. The current champion, Naomi, is being challenged by two former champions, Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. They feel that their match at Evolution was ruined or overshadowed by Naomi's cash-in, and they're looking to get retribution. And not only that, Rhea Ripley has a chip on her shoulder and a lot to prove. She has yet to beat Io Sky in singles or triple threat, fatal four-way competition. She usually comes up very short. So Rhea Ripley's trying to kill two birds with one stone. Beat Io Sky and retain and get back her women's world championship. But they have a problem. Naomi ain't exactly a slouch, and she is not laying in wait and scared of the fact that these two women are coming after her for that title. She's well aware of it. And the veteran, the wily veteran, is always ready and willing. And she's made it very clear that she's not just going to lay down and give them this title. So they should all proceed with caution. Now, final match is a street fight for the WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes is challenging John Cena for the title. I suspect that some nefarious bullshit is going to go down in this match for sure. Okay? For sure. Because there ain't no way. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your SummerSlam lineup. I will go over SummerSlam in depth with all my folk in here. We're going to talk about wins and losses and all of that. We're going to talk about how this is going to lead into Clash in Paris, what's going to happen leading into Perth, Australia, all of that. We're going to talk about all of it. We'll do that Wednesday when we cover NXT as well. Okay? Let me see these comments. They got a special start time for SummerSlam. SummerSlam is starting at 6 instead of starting at 7. But it also, they're going to be running SummerSlam all day. Like for Saturday and Sunday, they're going to have over 12 hours of content. The shows are going to be the pre-shows are going to be like 6 hours. I'm like, what the? I'm not sitting up listening to y'all talk about wrestling for 6 hours and then watch another 4 to 8 hours. Bitch, go to hell. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Nope, not doing it. So if you care, y'all can watch the pre-shows. I never watch the pre-show. I don't like watching the pre-show because I just let it play in the background so I'm on the server. But I don't like watching the pre-show. So I'm not going to do that. But anywhoosies, let me go back in here. The Miz said if Logan need a partner, he got him. Drew McIntyre gonna be there, so he ain't gonna need to have the Miz. It's me being wide awake. That is very odd for you to be awake right now. That is surprising. And Anti-Charlotte ain't. 6 hour pre-show is insane. It's just too much going on. I'm glad I'll be at work in the morning. Because, like, what am I here for? Like, why am I sitting here listening y'all have a panel about this show for 6 hours? That's crazy. What can they even talk about for 6 hours? I don't know. But they say the pre-show is supposed to start at like 1. And then they don't start the regular show until like 6. It's just too much. So I won't be watching the pre-show until like maybe an hour or 2 in. I'm going to be cooking. We're going to be making breakfast burritos for SummerSlam this week. So I don't know. I might film it and show y'all how I make them. But I will be back here Wednesday and we will talk all about that. If you guys want to hear me and Alexis and Nicole on Down for the Count talk about SummerSlam, that is what we're going to be talking about this week on the pod. And me and Hiram and Don finished the podcast for this week. So I am going to get that up for the stuff I want to talk about pod. And I hope y'all are going to be listening. I do have to edit that one, so beware that it's going to be edited. Just make sure y'all rate, comment, and subscribe. Follow the channel. Make sure you support. All I need is the support, okay? You guys can support by becoming members. You can support by, making donations. The donation thing is always scrolling at the bottom. I always leave. Okay, my donation is always open. Cash App is always open for you to donate if that's what you want to do. That's totally up to you. But You can either join the channel, you can always send a super chat, you can do whatever you want to do. It's totally up to you. This will help my channel in any way, shape, or form. And if you would be so kind as to head on over to the Stuff I Want to Talk About podcast over on Spotify and just give it a like and follow, and you guys will hear my podcast that comes out once a month, once or twice a month. You will get a pod. We're going to be talking about Sinners next time because I finally just watched it. Freaked me the hell out, but it was still a good movie, and the cultural aspect of it was so incredible. When I talk about it, you guys are going to love it. If you haven't seen Sinners, there are going to be spoilers in this conversation, so just be aware of that. But I really want to talk about Sinners, so you guys make sure you follow the pod, and I'll let you know when that goes up. So I'll see you guys next time, which is Wednesday. Okay? I love yous, and I'll see you guys then. Bye. So I'm glad you finally watched it. Of course. It's so good. It's such a good movie. If you haven't seen Sinners, go see it. It's good.